be at the Mirabilia retreat in Katoomba in Australia, and Nora Corbett has joined us, and she's been so generous with her time and with her talent, and she's going to sit down with us for a couple of minutes and just answer some questions.
Ask away.
Thank you, Nora, so much. This is very exciting. So we've had some questions from some people on Flosstube and Facebook who asked if there was a couple of things that I could ask you.
Please do. I'd love to answer.
So, and there's a couple of questions from me too.
Okay.
Can I just start by asking, are you a stitcher yourself?
I don't stitch that much. The thing is it's just, you know, I knit.
Yeah.
I spend all day looking at little tiny squares, and like by the end of the day, and then I think also the part of your brain that you use when you're designing is different than when you're stitching. It's like I like have to see it faster, happen faster. It's just like a different speed.
Yeah, right.
You know, so when I start stitching, it's like not moving fast enough for me. You know,
Right,
because I want to see it, because you know, I'm imagining it.
Yeah.
It's strange, but you know, I don't stitch a whole lot, but I think that the beauty of it is that the stitchers make it and I design it, and it's like a partnership in art, really.
Oh, I think that's beautiful, because that was another thing I wanted to ask you about, is the way that stitches do change your work, and we have conversions and we have
I love it.
Add different stitches.
I want
and
you, you know, this. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, please do. Yeah,
but they start out being my girls, but I want them to be yours, and I want you to personalize it, and the creativity, and sometimes when I'm done with the pattern, I have like agonized over every color and square and angle, and I'm like done. And then I see somebody takes it, and they take it to the next level. Like I've already taken it as far as I can by the time you get it. And so when they put it on like the beautiful colored fabrics, and or they change the colors, they make it more personal. It's just awesome. I love it.
That's wonderful, because also one question I was asked, because I did my piece Skin 1/1, and someone said, ask Nora what she thinks about Skin 1/1.
Oh my God, I wish I could do it.
I wish I hadn't done it. No, it looks great, but it drives
just like
crazy.
I know some people that do the whole thing in that, and I just honestly I just stand back like.
Yeah, and we've got
no way.
one of the girls here, Silvana, has done stem stitch for hair and things like that.
I saw that. I love
and
that.
And it's amazing.
I would love to see more of that. Actually.
Yeah, well, I've made her sit next to me so I can learn how to do this, because
it looks like satin. It looks like real
it's incredible,
hair.
And she uses satin thread to do it as well.
I would love to see that.
Oh, well, I'll introduce you to Silvana.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. Oh, well, that's really good to hear that you like that, because it's something that, I mean, I don't make big changes to the chart, but those little things.
I want you to feel, spark your creativity. It's not just about, you know, following a pattern. It's, you know, I think it's, if I can, you know, inspire someone to do more and to make it their own, gosh, yes, go for it.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Do you have a favourite chart that you've designed? Is there a favourite?
You know, some I like more than others, but mostly it's pieces of them that I like. I'll look back. I mean, I haven't seen them all, so many in one room, because I do them and then they're gone. And, you know, but to see them all here, they're all like, you know, I can look at certain ones and I know what part of my life was going on when I see them. It's kind of like a letter, you know. Like.
Right. It's like because that's another thing, like the creative process. I heard you mention yesterday that you do actually like pose in your garden and maybe get an idea of a figure.
I did.
Can you talk a bit about that?
The ladies in my garden, you know, and all that. I was just like, I don't have a model, so I had this full-length mirror, and I just stood there like, okay, that, you know, or I'll use my hands, which, you know, my hands do strange things.
But that looks like my Gypsy Queen hand. I can see.
Can you see now? Yes. Like people are like, well, they are always sometimes they're like, well, look at her hands, and I'm like, well, look at mine. Do strange things. So.
But your ladies are not dissimilar to your own figure and your own stature and your leanness. So I think that.
Well, my mom was a fashion illustrator, and she taught me how to do fashion, and I love that. Like from an early age, it was like everyone's super tall, and you know, and love of color and everything, design, and she taught me how to draw everything. She's gave me everything.
Well, that's amazing, because I think most of us are probably also a bit of a fan of Lavender and Lace and your mother Marilyn, which is beautiful.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that must have been a big influence for you.
Oh, huge. She made me. Everything, I hear her voice in my head every day.
Oh, that's
telling me what to do, and you know, and it's like, no, I mean, I was, you know, and that wasn't her favorite, but like, we were both artists.
How lovely
and
to
share
share
that. A whole family of artists together. It was, you know, beautiful, and dramatic and dramatic
Yeah.
all the time, and like Christmas was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It would be decorated beautiful, but then people would be yelling at each other. So it was she was very eccentric.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And
right.
you know, things were like, we would just do crazy stuff. It was wild. It was a trip. It was a fun way to grow up.
Wow.
You know, she was very liberal, and
Yeah.
you know, when the 60s and stuff.
Yeah,
and
right.
So she was very open, and you know, we were allowed to be whoever we wanted to be.
Yeah.
Very feminist.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I'm still that way
Oh,
now.
well, we get that from all your ladies and
Yeah.
the
People are
strength,
like,
the
when
elegance from that.
Yeah. When are you going to do a guy? And I'm like,
When are you going to do a merman?
I mean, you know, like, when are we going to have a female president? I don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
well, that's
like,
right. Yeah.
It's like, come on, you know, like, the men are like in charge of enough.
There we go.
Yeah.
So you went to art school.
Yes.
So you had I guess classical training,
Yes,
so to
yes.
speak. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I went to the Rhode Island School of Design,
Mm.
and I also went to the Cleveland Institute of Art. And then my first job was designing windows in a department store.
Yeah, I
Old
read that,
school,
yeah.
and it was old school. It wasn't
Mm.
like, you know, hang a bat. It was like the big production.
Right.
And so that's why even Christmas Elegance has that look.
Yes,
She's in a
yes,
window.
yes.
And people would write me, and they'd say, well, what is that stuff over there? And I'm like, you know, it's like cascading from her.
Mm.
But it's just, well, when I did windows, it was like you had like, I don't know, ribbons and stuff and everything.
And is that where you often have frames and things,
Yeah,
and some of that comes from there, maybe?
Yeah, like that's sort of like you're looking into
Mm.
another world. And I also love like old school illustrations and fairy tales, like to look at them
Yep.
like they're in another world. And I always want them to look like something I would want to stitch like that from the beginning.
Mm.
My inspiration has always been, I want them to look like something that is classic and that will just, you know, that you'll love
Timeless.
it. Yes,
Timeless,
and that's like, I
absolutely.
try to stay away from like trendy things.
Yep.
I just want them to be like very classic and like art and tapestries. That was another big
Yes.
inspiration, because you go to the museum, you see all the beautiful tapestries of the colors, and then the women who stitch them. And when you look at something, sometimes when you see something stitched that somebody died or something, and you hold it, and it's just like there's so much of them into it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know, I get emotional. It's very, and you know, the letters I get from people.
Yes.
amazing.
Yes, and you must get, people would feel some attachment to you because they stitch this and they stitch it for so long and they feel like they've seen.
I said this morning, I was like, I feel like you have all been in my head.
Oh.
You know, because, or like when I pick crazy, here's another thing they were asking me about was that, you know, I pick kind of wild colors sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, how did you decide to mix these? And it's because I'm a painter, and
Yes.
I'm mixing them like paint. And like, and when you do a painting and there's like purple in the shadows and stuff like that, it's like, so I really, you know, I do that, and I love colors. So obviously.
Well, I do too, and that's why, I'm really drawn to colour as well. Because so your creative process, you obviously sketch. We've seen some beautiful sketches of yours here as well. So, are you a notebook person? Are you a
I just, you know, they start like almost like really rough, and then they just evolve, and they sort of like I was telling them, like, I'll design the face, and I kind of look at the face, and I'm like, and they kind of, especially with the fairies, they kind of tell me, like, I look at her, and I'm like, oh, who are you? And what do you want to look like? And what's your personality? And then some of them just like flow right out of me.
Yeah,
they just, you know,
Very
like,
organic.
Yes, and then sometimes they take forever.
Yeah, sure.
And those ladies, I'm glad that they're done. You know, like, I'm not going to point out who, but, you know, it's just
How long does it take you, maybe, from
well,
when you've got a concept, you've got an idea, until you've got...
Yeah, I can do a Mirabilia, and I do it all by hand. You know, all the little symbols,
Oh, really?
all hand done. I don't use a computer at all.
Yep.
I guess there would, a quick one would be that just flows and happens would be 2 weeks.
Wow,
But
okay.
like sometimes it'll take like a month and a half.
That's a lot quicker than stitching them, that's
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I do the Nora Corbett's in sets of 6. So they're kind of like groupings, if anybody
Right.
wants to know,
Yeah.
you know, like, but they have been released lately, not in the series of the sets, but that's kind of the way I do them.
Right.
So I do them all at once, and they kind of all have that same look of
Yes,
whatever
yes.
I'm into that day.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about, we've got a beautiful exclusive pattern that you've given us here at the retreat, and I've had some people ask from overseas, is that going to be made available to anyone else?
Yes, it is.
Ah,
Yes,
fabulous.
it is, definitely. And I did only I did one last year for the retreat in America,
Yes.
and then I did one this year. But
The hula girl.
Yeah, the hula girl. I can't do one for a retreat.
No, thank you.
But you guys got it first.
Yes, we
so
feel very privileged.
Okay.
Well, they'll be glad to hear that. Another question was, there's a lot of talk of Lady of the Flag.
Yes.
Very popular, especially
Yes.
with our American counterparts, whether it's going to be re-released, because I think the price is going up like this for second hand. And
I know, well, like, you know, I work really closely with Witchell, and they, like, we're partners, and they make the decisions on that.
Right,
and
yep.
they don't tell me what to draw.
So no, it
I
won't
don't
be re-released.
No, they might, but, you know,
They
and it's a kind of, you know, I don't know, there's some things in the works.
Right, okay.
For things, that's all I can say, really.
Okay, well, one
Is
of
that
the
there's
rumours
maybe-
is a book including out-of-print patterns.
Yes.
Is that going to be?
I don't know.
Maybe that. Okay. Right.
No, maybe, yes. No, it's just I can't say, because
Okay.
they like to keep things in
Sure.
the domo.
Yeah. No, understandable. Are you able to give us some sort of hint of what may be released in coming months? What might be coming out?
Oh, you know, I don't know.
We had the Queen, the playing card.
Oh yes, and then there's going to be another playing. You know,
the
definitely.
Queens. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Oh, I just have so many that are finished that I can't wait to see them stitched.
I've heard that you have quite a bank of charts ready to go.
Yes, like they're like in the works, and like, you know, I just did Veronica.
Yes.
Facing one
Yes,
way. I
yes.
just did another lady to
Oh, good.
face Veronica. She's
Okay.
completely different looking, and she's her
Is
own
it on the
personality.
chair, like
Yeah, so I want
that's
you know,
beautiful.
the same
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Like
because there's,
Sabrina and
yes,
yeah.
because there's some people that like the big dress,
Yes.
and some people that like the fairies.
I
and
do
some
like the
people-
big dress.
and
Thank you.
mermaid,
Oh, good.
mermaid
Okay.
people, fairy
Yes.
people. I try to make everybody happy,
Yeah.
and they can't do it.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll
that's
try.
good. Yeah. And I guess the final thing I wanted to ask you is about the influence of social media. We have massive Facebook groups like Stitch Mania, which is 10,000 members. We have Flosstube, which
Oh
has
my
got
gosh,
hundreds
wow.
of people making videos. And I mean, you are one of the biggest names in cross stitch now. You know,
That's so
which
funny.
is we
I
feel
can't
so
even get
we
used to
are
it.
so privileged to have you here. You know, and how do you keep track of what's going on Facebook, Instagram, these things?
Yes, and now I try not to get like too into it. But yeah, I follow the groups and stuff. And
Are you
it's-
lurking? Are you watching without letting us
I
know?
do a little
Yeah,
bit.
good.
Yeah, definitely.
So watch what you say.
I do. You know, like 100 people can say that they love something, and then one person says they don't
Of
like
course,
it, and
yeah.
I'm just like.
I can't go on.
No,
yeah.
no. You know,
Yeah.
it'll be the middle of the night or something. I'll be like,
Forget it.
you know,
yeah.
You know, I'm sensitive, and I work in my own little studio all by myself, and it's amazing that to me that it reaches all these people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just so grateful as an artist. I have just the best job, the best life, and it's all because of you guys. And I'm so grateful.
Oh.
All of you.
Well, that's a lovely point to end this interview.
Okay,
Thank you
good.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.